So, back to the day I saw my first bald spot. So my hair was about this long, this thick, and I just got done straightening it. I was home alone, it was in the summer, and I even remember exactly what I was wearing. I had a green tank top on with these Hollister plaid shorts, and so I was straightening my hair, and I was like, alright, well, it's gotta be perfect in the back, so I took a mirror. I don't know if there's a mirror in here. So I took a mirror, and I turned around, and I went like this, and like, I held it up, and I'm like, what is that? And then I was like, so I like put it down for a second, and I'm like, okay. So I did it again, and I'm like, okay, that's definitely not going away. So then I stepped closer, and I like looked, and I like peeled, like I pulled my hair apart, and I saw it, and I just put my finger on it, and I'm like, there's a bald spot on my head. And I like felt it, and then I just like immediately just like, I was freaking out. I'm like, oh my gosh, what is, like, what's gonna happen? So I called my mom, I was freaking out, she was crying. So then she came home, and then it was just, from that day on, I just watched that spot get bigger. And it was like, started off this small, and then it just expanded. So it was all right here, and then it started to come up like the sides over here, and then right here, and then right here too. And then at the top, like, it had just gotten so thin that when I would put the powder on, I would have to go crazy right here, cover this all up, and then I'd have to cover this up, cover this side up, and then just put it, I would just separate my hair. I would just make lines, so I'd just be like, just powder. And yeah, that was the start of my crazy journey. Devastating, but very, very worth it. These bad boys stand the draw. I used to be told all the time, like, oh Alex, you're beautiful, you're so pretty, but when I was just dealing with this, it was, I was told it, but I never actually believed it for myself. Like, I would say, yeah, thanks, but there was always something deep down inside of me that I'd never seen it, because it was just this boldness of being bald, having these bald spots. I'm like, that's who I am. That's not beautiful. People aren't going to think that's beautiful. Guys aren't going to think that's beautiful. The second I would wake up, I would look at my hair, and I would just cry, because it just made me so sad that I wasn't like everyone else, and I didn't have beautiful, long, thick hair anymore. But as time went on, like, I accepted it, and it was who I was. And I mean, I didn't accept it every single day. Like, I would have my times where I would break down, and it would be so hard, and I say, I can't do this anymore. But then I would just remind myself that I could be dealing with something so much worse. So this one I had, this was all of my hair. This was junior prom in 2010. And this was the year after. This one I had all the powder in my hair and like extensions put in, clip-in extensions. And yeah, you can just see the difference. Like, it doesn't really look that different, but it's crazy from one year to the next that it can change that much.
It was like when it first started, she said, you know, Mom, my hair is falling out, and I just said, oh, okay, just kind of like everybody's hair falls out. And then she started showing me months later that, Mom, it's getting thin. And then I thought, we do have people that have thin hair in our family, so I thought maybe her genes were going to be like that, a thinner head of hair. And then when it started to go into really thin, then I started to get nervous.
Yeah.
And I thought it was because of the extensions that she was wearing, because, you know, all the girls at her age were wearing extensions, and I thought maybe the extensions pulled out her hair. And then we started looking at it, and I started to realize that it was part of alopecia, hoping it wasn't. But then she kept saying, what are we going to do? What are we going to do? And I said, all right, we'll do whatever we can, no matter what it is. We'll just go every road that we can take.
That was the tough part for me, to see her have to deal with the struggles of, you know, covering it up and not letting people know, and, you know, and having a hard time with that. But for me it was just, that was the high five for me, just to have her, see her suffer like that.
To see like my baby sister who I love, like not happy and to be going through something physically that she couldn't control was like the hardest thing. One specific conversation that I remember, like she just broke down, had a meltdown about how she couldn't do it anymore. She was just sick and tired of like battling with it, and her hair was just like ruining and running her life.
A lot of the times I would just keep my hair back or braid it because I didn't want to do my hair. Because she used to love to do her hair and she couldn't do that anymore, so I just pulled it back.
I couldn't believe it, that it got that far. Well, because what you would always say was, oh, Allie, your hair's just thinning, it's just thinning, it's okay.
And then you'd be like, no, I have bald spots. I'm like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
And then when you were like, no, there's no hair growing right here. Oh, man.
So coming in here was really like nerve-wracking for me because I didn't know what these girls were gonna expect. I mean, these girls had lived together for 2 years prior, and I'm like, well, they're gonna be like a clique, and I'm just gonna be this random person with this weird thing that I'm going through. And so I moved in, and then all the girls were like great. They were so nice. And when I was sitting in this chair, I remember it exactly. And my roommate Karen was sitting over there, and this was probably a couple weeks into the semester, and she goes, I don't want to be weird or anything, but I was creeping through your Instagram and I saw that you had alopecia, and at that moment I was like, my breath was taken away. I was like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna talk to this girl about this? So then she was like, yeah, my best friend has it, like she has absolutely no hair. And at that point I was like, wow, this is like amazing. I didn't know how I was gonna expect, like how I was gonna tell these girls. Was I gonna have to go through a whole year hiding this, like especially waking up in the morning like an hour early just to like, when they were all sleeping, just to like wash my hair, blow dry my hair, put my powder on, just like cover it up before they could see anything. And that was probably like an ongoing process for about 3 weeks. And I mean, even going out, I would have to go in my room. And the moment she said that to me, I was like, wow, this is just my door opening for me to tell these girls what I'm going through. So when she said that, she asked me if I still had it, and I said, yeah.
Christmas night is when I found the first spot, and then within 4 months after that I had like patches everywhere. So for senior prom I had to wear extensions to like cover up everything that I lost. And then by the time preseason came, that was August, I had lost everything. I had him like, coach, I just need to talk to you about something. He's like, okay. And I told him I had alopecia. I'm like, I'm losing hair. I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna wear a wig or if I'm just gonna try and do the extensions and wear like a thick headband to cover it. He's like, well, there's a girl on the team who has the same disease that you do. I'm like, are you serious? Because I had never heard of the disease. I didn't know anyone who had it. And he's like, well, yeah, she just shaved her head. I'm like, well, she won't be the only one. So that kind of like made me, because I had thought about it, but I'm like, I don't know if I should or not. I think Alex definitely inspired me to shave it. It's easier going through it with someone else than it is by yourself.
I got that message. I was out to dinner with my mom, and I'm like, I just started crying. She's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, you'll never believe it. There's a girl on my team that has the same thing. And I'm like, what are the odds of this? You know, like going in there, I'm like, well, I left school with hair and I'm coming back with no hair. But the fact that someone else, brand new, younger, is dealing with the same thing, like, I was just like, wow, it's amazing.
She told us that she was thinking about doing it, and for a while, like a couple months or whatever, and like I didn't think like anything. I didn't think anything was wrong with that. I thought it was great. I thought, like if she does it, just live in your own skin. I'm so happy and I'm proud of my sister for the woman that she's becoming, and to see her be able to overcome something like this and to really become herself is really awesome.
She has more confidence than anyone else I know. A lot more confidence than I think I could ever have. And it's contagious. And I really am just very proud of her. And I think through this, I think she's the perfect advocate for alopecia, and I really do think that she will change lives one day. And I think she's going to touch a lot of people more than she's already touched. But I think she has this for a reason, and I think she's going to do good things with it. Oh, she looks dang good without hair.
Hair really doesn't define like who you are. It's just another thing, and like beauty doesn't come from just on the outside. Like it comes from within, and like what your heart really has to give, and like how you see yourself. I'm happy. I'm happy with like what I had to go through. I mean, at that given time, I absolutely hated it. Like it was like the worst time of my life, but for the outcome, it was 100% worth it to like what I went through to like where I am now.
Bye. Bye hair.